It is just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Dr. David Hall right here in my own backyard. I'm in Phoenix. He's in Mesa. Mesa is the next city over. He practiced for many years in Iowa, where in 1990 he became accredited with the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. In 1991, he published landmark research that demonstrated that the then prevalent practice of etching teeth prior to bleaching was unnecessary. In 1994, he became the first public relations chair of the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry and later directed a bylaws reform that helped create the current structure of that organization. Who was the guy who started the AACD in Wisconsin?
Jack Kammer.
Jack Kammer. And his son is Chris Kammer. I love that guy. He's been on the show.
Oh, okay.
In 1990, I love Jack. He started.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. He was amazing. Is he still alive?
No.
When did he
No,
pass?
he passed, gosh, it's about 10 years ago.
Oh my God, he was amazing. In 1995, Dr. David Hall launched one of the first cosmetic dentistry websites, which led in 2006 to other dentists beginning to ask him for help with their websites. In 2009, he relocated to Mesa, Arizona, where he created the dental website company, infinitydentalweb.com. His company has distinguished itself as being a leader in search engine optimization and in bringing principles of neuromarketing into dentistry. It is acknowledged by many as being the quality design leader of dental website companies, has become the official marketing partner of the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. Thank you so much for coming over to my house this weekend. Sorry, I got in, I lectured at MegaGen all weekend. And so I got in late last night, so sorry if I don't look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but I've been trying to get you over on the show for a long time. Thank you so much for coming. What is neuromarketing?
Neuromarketing is marketing to the subconscious. It's manipulating the subconscious mind. Get them to buy your product, or if you're a dentist, to come to you.
So understanding how a human is biologically wired, and you're playing into how they're wired.
Yeah. And they study it by putting electrodes on your head, and figuring out what's going on underneath the surface that you may not even realize.
And we have a big, when I got my MBA at ASU, there was a, who's the guy that wrote the book?
You're thinking of Cialdini?
Yeah, Cialdini. What was his first name?
What was his first name?
What was
Cialdini.
the name of his book? Influence?
Influence, yeah.
Yeah.
The Psychology of Persuasion.
Persuasion.
Yeah.
And he just came out with a new book. Every time, he lives right around the corner. And he's I think his wife is friends with Dr. Tom Mattern's wife, Sharon. But every time I've got him on the show, he's coming out.
Robert is his first name, Robert?
Yeah. So are you a big fan of his?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, he has some of that. I mean, my biggest influence in this subconscious marketing is Douglas Van Praet.
And where's he out of?
Oh gosh, I don't know. But he wrote this book. My mind is getting a little freeze here. Anyway, it's all about subconscious marketing. Dang it, I've read the book 3 times. But he's the guy that did this famous Super Bowl commercial with a little kid playing Darth Vader. And anyway, he's written extensively on.
So what can you explain about neuromarketing in dentistry?
Well, let me explain with an illustration.
Okay.
We had a client that wanted to put a little box on his website to collect email addresses and then remarket to those people because they didn't make an appointment, and try to talk them into making an appointment. And we said, we don't think that's such a great idea, but he really wanted to try it. So I said, okay, let's run a study. Let's put that little box on your homepage in the corner, put it up, take it down, put it up alternate months for the better part of a year. Let's see what it does. And it's interesting. It apparently wasn't annoying to people because it didn't increase the bounce rate of his website, but it decreased the calls. The months it was up, he had 30% fewer calls. He'd get about 100 calls a month. He had 30% fewer calls when that was on the website.
When what was on the website?
On the box simply asking for an email address.
Right.
Would you like more information?
I hate that.
Or whatever. Would you like? But what it does is it sends a signal. It's a subconscious signal that, hey, you really need new patients. or hey, I think you care more about the money than you care about me. And it's not a conscious level, it's an unconscious level, and just fewer people were calling. So,
and where do you think that comes from on the human psychology of a Homo sapien that's 200, perhaps 2 million years old?
Well, we have a lot of built-in fears about dentistry. I mean, we've heard stories about, well, our friend went to this dentist. I mean, you bring it up. I brought it up in social circles, and somebody always has a story. Yeah, I went to this dentist, and he said I had 10 cavities, and I didn't know when I went to this other guy. I went to the dental school, and they checked me. They said, no, you don't have 10 cavities. So they're scared that you're going to prescribe something that they don't need, or that you're going to tell them they need a full mouth reconstruction and they don't need it, or you're just, they're not sure they can trust you. So this trust is a really big issue. So we want to construct a website that creates a first impression that, hey, Dr. Smith is a trustworthy dentist. You can call. You're safe here.
Well,
and I think they're going to hurt him, or
well,
something.
I think it's so imperative because it's selling the invisible. I mean, when I buy an iPhone, I know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't need to ask you about an iPhone. When I go to Walgreens to get my readers, I put them on, I look right there. When I buy a bottle of water, I know what it is. But when my engine light comes on, and I grew up with 5 sisters playing Barbie dolls, I mean, I don't know anything about an engine. So when I go into the mechanic, I go across the street to Grulich, who's been there 20 years, and we always joke and tease. He's been over here, and he's like, yeah, we have the same business, because when I tell him they need a new alternator, and you tell them they have 4 cavities, it's all based on trust.
Yeah.
Because
you need 3 crowns, and you've got bone loss. Really? I have no symptoms. I didn't know anything was wrong. So they've really got to trust that dentist.
So can a website convey trust?
Yeah.
Because what you said is by asking for their email right out of the gate, that decreases trust.
Yeah.
And you said by 30%.
30% fewer calls.
Whenever I go to, I'm shocked at how many of the major newspapers, like even the Arizona Republic, their website is AZ Central. Mm-hmm. And when you go to their website, it's all like asking emails and all these pop-up ads and all that stuff. And I can't imagine how many stories I'm really interested in reading. And I go to their website, and after the 10th thing pops up, I just X out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're saying asking for an email decreased 30% of follow-up. So how can a website convey trust on selling the invisible?
Well, the branding on the website needs to match the branding of the dentist. It can't be too busy. If a dentist is selling, advertising himself as a cosmetic dentist, the website has to look expensive or lacks credibility. So, or if there's phrasing on the website like "call now," or Dr. Smith is a graduate of the prestigious
LVI.
LVI. No, just be matter of fact. So that's what we try to do. Just be down to earth, matter of fact. You wouldn't. What we tell our writers is put yourself in a situation where you're the dentist, you're going to a cocktail party, and someone comes up to the cocktail party, to you at the cocktail party and says, well, what do? You don't say, hey, I'm the most wonderful, the absolute best dentist, in Mesa, Arizona. No, you're not going to say that. But you might say, well, I got a lot of people that say I'm really good. Are you that good? I've heard people say you're that good. Well, people say that, but you'll be modest about it. And that's the tone that needs to be on the website.
Now, does this have anything to do with your modest roots from Iowa? Does this translate to Beverly Hills and Manhattan and Miami, or is this an Iowa thing?
I don't know. It's Iowa. But it kind of goes back, my feelings about this go back to my dental practice. And I like to tell the story.
In Iowa?
Yeah.
And what city in Iowa?
Cedar Rapids.
Cedar Rapids. I went to Creighton University, and I had a love affair with Council Bluffs. Because at the time, Nebraska, you couldn't drink till you were 21, and Iowa was 18. So I really felt like a zebra, because on Friday nights, we used to have to cross the river, and we'd go into Iowa, and we'd drink and play and all that stuff. But then the bars all closed at 1, and then a gazillion cars would cross that bridge, and there'd be like 2 cops on each side. And it was just like alligators sitting in a creek, and you're all zebras, you know, that anybody they pull over is busted, you know. Everybody's been drinking and dancing, and so you just went through there, and when the lights flickered on, you're like, oh my God, it would be the car behind you or whatever. But so thank you, Iowa, for having an 18-year-old. Is it still 18 in Iowa? Or did they raise it?
I don't think so.
But anyway, so you graduated, and another thing
but anyway, the idea of the trust.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the story, because when I started practice, I was one of the last guys to just launch out on his own. You know, right at the hit of the recession there in 1979, which hit in 1980.
Yeah. So let's talk about that just for a second. I don't want to interrupt you, but in 1980, interest rates were 21%.
Yeah.
Unemployment and inflation was double digit.
Yeah.
And so when these people talk about the economy, it's like, was that the worst you've ever seen it, or was Lehman?
I think so,
yeah. So then when I got out of school in 87, I got out of May of 87, October was Black Monday. Okay, it crashes, it bounces right back. And then there was March of 2000, the internet bubble crashed. And then there was Lehman's Day, which was September of 2009 or 2008? 10 years ago. So when everybody talks about doom and glooms, when I'm 56, I've lived through 4 crashes: senior year of high school, senior year of dental school, 2000, 2009. So all that doom and gloom stuff is just crazy. I mean, yeah, the economy is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. When it crashes, well, it'll be back. So don't get all doom and gloom about it.
Yeah. But anyway, so here I am. I've got all these debts. And I've got a patient, and they need, whatever. Say they need 3 crowns. And I'm trying to be as honest as I can. You really need these 3 crowns. And most of them are accepting my treatment plan recommendations, but enough are not accepting it that it bugs me. Then later in my practice, I got busy. And I have the same patient who maybe needs 3 crowns, and I tell them they need 3 crowns. But there's something different going on in my mind. And that is, I'm really busy. I get tired just looking at you, thinking you need all this dental work. But I'm giving the same treatment plan presentation. I'm saying, you need 3 crowns, you need bridge, whatever. And one day it dawned on me that I had almost 100% treatment plan acceptance rate. And I tried to think, what happened? And I realized that what happened was that I didn't feel needy anymore. Whether you do this or not, patient, that's up to you. I'm telling you what you need. If you don't want it, actually, that's fine with me. And while I wasn't saying anything different, people were picking that up through nonverbal whatever, body language, and just the trust. And I realized that it was the trust that they had in whatever tone of voice I had that got them to accept the treatment plan. And so when I got in, I've always been fascinated with marketing. And when I got into this, I thought, these dentists, they don't appreciate that, how much the trust matters.
It's everything.
Yeah.
So you're saying when you weren't feeling needy, you sold more.
Right. Yeah.
So if they feel like you're selling, they repel.
That's it.
And if they feel like you're informing and you're lucky to be here and you don't care if you take it or not, they buy.
Yeah. And that's what this Douglas Van Prate in his book, he calls it the BS alarm.
You just remembered it.
Yeah.
The book's called the BS alarm?
No, that's one of his chapters.
Okay, so it's Douglas what?
Van Prate, Vanpraet.
Okay, unconscious branding,
That's
how
it.
Neuroscience can empower and inspire marketing.
Yes.
So where's he out of?
I'm not sure. He's
Redondo Beach, California.
Okay.
And
Fascinating book.
so tell us about your journey with him.
Well, that's one of the principles, is that BS alarm. When you act needy, when there's some disconnect in what you're saying, when you start bragging, people, it sends up the alarm subconsciously. People may not realize it, but
his book on Amazon is Unconscious Branding.
Yeah.
And so talk more about unconscious branding.
Well, that's one of the principles. That's one of the biggest ones, the trust. Another is the power of association. And he cites this guy that back when margarine was first developed, it was white and it wasn't selling, and this can't think of his name right off, but this marketing genius came and said, you got to make the margarine yellow. You're not making the correct associations. So you've got to be careful, what you associate with, And then let's see, what are some of the other principles? Just cultivating the emotion, realizing that the reason they're coming to you is because they like you. It's an unconscious process of whether or not they like you, and you have to create this likable image. The first impression is really important. So a lot of dentists will put a lot of money into their reception room, thinking, I want to create a great first impression.
Guess what?
Yeah, guess what? Your website's the first impression.
Digital, virtual, yeah. So again, we sell the invisible. If I had to ask, when I got out of school in '87, the big boogeyman was capitation dentistry. And all the dentists thought all the indemnity insurance was going to switch to capitation, and they're going to get $10. And by the way, it would have worked. The insurance companies said, look, instead of the dentist being incentivized to do crowns and root canals and deep cleans and all that, we just want to give him the funds and then have him manage the patient pool. And they thought if we took the incentives out of diagnostic and treatment plan, you would just do what's best for the patient. And I thought it was a great idea. But what did the insurance companies do? The average fee collected from the companies going to the insurance companies, and they pay out the reimbursements, was about $20 a month per head per patient. So they rolled out this, we're going to change the incentives and have the risk go to the dentist. So now the dentist can have the risk, but they put the capitation at $10 a month. And I called every one of those capitation plans and I said, well, you keep talking about this great theory, which could be really, really cool and should really be explored, but you just cut the reimbursement in half. So it got to about 8% of the market, and then it died. In fact, there was a guy around the corner from me who was a dentist who started one of those capitation plans and then sold it to a bigger plan for like $10 million and totally cashed out. So, but now the boogeyman is DSOs. And this state, obviously, has a lot of the big DSOs that have, over 100 locations. And the 31 years I've been here, I just keep hearing the same thing. The reason patients come here is because they went in there, they were getting this huge treatment plan, and or they went back, and every time they go back, there's a different dentist. And the different dentist thing is a trust issue. And I was having dinner with one of my friends the other day, and his daughter was there, and she was like 7 months pregnant, and she'd been going to the hospital with the OBGYN. And then at her 7th month, the OBGYN was no longer at that hospital. And she was literally in tears. These relationships with doctors, they're all based on trust. How can a dental office and a dental website convey more trust? I think employee turnover has got to slow down. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't have a different dentist and a different hygienist every time someone comes in, or they just lose trust. Yeah.
Well, it has, and the website needs to accurately brand the practice. I spend a lot of time on the phone with every new client that we have, and we try to drill down into what makes you unique. I mean, we just launched a website. I'm not going to use the name.
But... Oh, it's Dentistry Uncensored. Use the
name. Anyway, a guy in Hoffman Estates.
In what?
Hoffman Estates, Illinois.
Okay.
Very upscale suburb of Chicago. He's got reviews, that they say he's rude, whatever. Okay, so we're charged with marketing this practice. Well, a lot of times we like to put warm fuzzies on there, well, he did missions to Dominican Republic where he fixed teeth, and he spends a day a year, doing dentistry for the disadvantaged. He volunteers at this, whatever. We put stuff on there so people can see, well, this is a really caring dentist. Well, he's rude. So what are we going to do? Well, we just have to accurately brand him. We talk to him and figure out, well, it turns out, he's been to Pankey and Dawson, and he's highly respected by his peers. He knows what he's doing. So we create a branding on the website that accurately pegs him as a lot of expertise, but we leave out all the warm fuzzies because we don't want to lead people, into that, bring them in thinking, oh, I've got this warm, fuzzy, friendly dentist, and then they get there and discover the harsh reality that he's...
What percent of dentists are egomaniacs like that? Really, there's...
Not very many. We're
dentists, physicians, and lawyers. Some of them are just paralyzed by their egos. They got big houses, big Mercedes, initials after last name, and they're just jerks. What percent of dentists do you think are like that? What would you say?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Well, let me look at our clients and say, maybe somewhere between 5 to 10%. I don't know.
That's all you think it is, 5 to 10%?
Well, I don't know. Maybe we're not seeing them. I'm just looking at our clients. Okay, yeah. Let me go back. Let me go back to Cedar Rapids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just don't be that person, because if you act like that and you have the big house and you have the Mercedes, I tell dentists all the time, a very small penis is very expensive. Because if you have a very small penis, you got to get the big house, you got to get the big Mercedes, and you got to act like a jerk your whole life. Just be humble. I think building a relationship, I think humility goes a long way. I'm probably the humblest dentist you'll ever meet. I am from Wichita,
I looked
Kansas.
at your website. I thought, okay, so if we're going to talk about websites, what's Howard's website like? I thought, yeah. So I liked it.
You did like it?
I liked it. It's down to earth.
We programmed it ourselves. It's just a Microsoft. What is it? Microsoft Word or no?
Yeah, it's not pretentious. You're branded as, to me, you're branded as the kind of dentist I would go to. You're not super expensive. You're going to take care of me and my family needs, whatever, and in a straightforward manner.
And I was humble. I didn't put on there that 9 years in a row I was the Chippendale winner of All Arizona. 9 years in a row. I didn't put that on there, just down there. But so you do websites, Infinity Dental websites, infinitydentalweb.com. How much do you charge for a custom website?
If it's a custom, we do some websites that aren't custom. The content is always custom. That's a fundamental that we don't cross. We always custom write every content. So we'll go, if they want a template design, they can get by with about $3,500.
Very low cost.
But if they want, to be branded as, a great cosmetic dentist, I can make you beautiful. I can take care of your complex problems, whatever. And it's going to be fairly aggressive in marketing. The initial design and everything is probably going to cost about $20,000.
$20,000. So I want to be a selfish bastard. Back to my website. Would you do anything? Do you think it needs improved, or it's todaysdental.com? Go to todaysdental.com and like and share, because that helps.
It could be made to look, more modern, more.
So what would you do? Just so you think I could improve my website?
Yeah.
We'll do a case study on that. Go by Today's Dental and tell my house friend Dawn. She's been with me 20 years. Or go left and go to Dental Town and tell Lori, she's the president of the company. And but if you were going to write an article or do an online C-course, how could a website like mine be better?
Yeah. Well, I'd have to, I didn't scour your website, so I have to be looking at it directly to tell you for sure. But that was my general impression. It had a very nice tone to it, but the design makes it could be nicer, more modern looking. Maybe,
and what was
maybe
mine
more
made on?
Upscale.
What was mine made on? Was it Word or WordPress? Was it WordPress?
I don't know. I didn't check that.
Yeah, we just did our own custom.
Yeah.
Yeah, WordPress
works. But anyway, it's interesting what you're saying about dentists and they're just, they're interested in the clinical stuff. That's what got me started in this business. What happened was I started my own website to market my own practice.
In what year was that?
All myself. That was 95.
95. And we started
3
Dental
years before
Town.
Google.
And you were 1995 and Google was 1998?
Yeah.
And Dental Town was 1998. It's still the most proud thing I am. I mean, I beat Facebook. I mean, Facebook was 2004, weren't they?
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, when I saw the internet, for the first time, going back to 1998 when Google came out, because it took 1 year to get up Dental Town. That's how long it took to program. They said there were 5 C's, and it was content, commercials like banner ads, connectivity to all your devices, community, and commerce. And all the new dental websites, they all went after commerce. It was all, and some of them got up to like $20 million of venture capital, like Dental Exchange and Net30. Everybody was going to be the Amazon selling supplies. But I was a selfish dentist. I didn't want to sell you supplies. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to post a picture and say, David Hall, what would you do? And so when I saw that, I found Ken Scott, who's still my developer 20 years later. And I said, Ken, let's make a little dental town where I can post an x-ray and a photo of a tooth and ask someone else what's going on. Or let's say I perfed a root canal. What would you do? All I selfishly wanted to do was talk to another dentist. So I went the community when 20 other companies, many of them private equity, venture capital, upwards of $20 million, they all went bust because I just wanted to talk to another dentist. I thought that was that's what I wanted.
Yeah. That's great. But anyway, so I started this website to market my practice.
In 95.
95.
Damn. Good at you, man. Talk about a pioneer.
And I got it ranked like you put in cosmetic dentist on Google anywhere in the country, I'd come up on the first page.
Oh my God.
And so I had this colleague that had worked around the corner for me in Cedar Rapids. And she had moved to Chicago. She'd remarried, moved to Chicago. And I'm talking to her on the phone. And Karen Blair, and she says, Dave, you know what? I'm just opening my practice here in Naperville. You know what I need? I need a website. Why don't you do my website? And it kind of caught me off guard. And I didn't give her an answer right then, but I called back the next week and said, I think that'd be fun. Let me do that. I got her ranked #1 for everything in Naperville. Naperville Cosmetic Dentist. She'd been in LVI, it was big cosmetic dentistry. Naperville Invisalign, Naperville White Fillings. I thought, hey, that was fun. There's 150 dentists in Naperville. I beat them all. So I let the word out. I'm accredited with the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. So I let the word out to some of my friends around the country. Say, hey, if you need help with your website, I can help you. Art Chow was one of them. Came to me, and I had 3 others.
Who's right up the street in Phoenix? Is he in Phoenix?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paradise Valley.
Oh, he's in Paradise Valley. He's not in Phoenix?
Yeah.
Was his practice in Paradise Valley? Or
Phoenix.
His practice was in Phoenix.
North 32nd Street.
He got so rich he lived in Paradise Valley. All right, Chaw, I know you're retired. I know you don't practice anymore, man. Why don't you come on the show and tell all these young kids everything? You used to be the president of the AACD.
Yeah.
And Phoenix had another one, the first woman president of the AACD.
Yes. So I get these dentists asking me for help with their websites, and I'm thinking, I have 4 of them, and I think, I got to figure out what I'm going to charge these people. So I call around to dental website companies, and I just get this feeling like they don't understand the dentist. They want me to take big apart. They're asking me how big a website I want. I'm thinking, if I'm a dentist, I don't know the answer to these questions. How big a website do I want? I don't know. You tell me how big a website I need. So that's what drove me into this. I think they don't understand the dentist. I know the dentistry. I could just take over this website, run it for them, monitor it for them, and you go back into the operatory and you do your composites and your veneers and your implants and whatever you want to do, and I'll take care of your marketing for you. And that's kind of the philosophy we started with. We just monitor it for you. We don't want you to have to worry about it.
And then when did you start Infinity websites?
Well, that was '06 when Karen Blair talked to me.
So your website is infinitydentalweb.com. You have a low cost template for $3,500.
Yeah, with custom content.
And then a high cost $20,000.
Up to 20,000, yeah.
Yeah. So tell people.
And then beyond that, there's other stuff that people can do.
Like what?
Local search. They can do the social media. They can, do paid advertising. Let's get it.
So if I type in Phoenix Dentist, a million websites come up. But how important is it to be on the first page on an iPhone? Like on the first page of an iPhone, how many will it show? If I put Awatuki Dentist.
Yeah, maybe about 3.
3. So how important is it to be that 3?
Well, it's not as important as it used to be. We're finding that patients are getting more sophisticated. Back in the old days, back when I did my website and when I got my first clients, it was really big to be number 1. Because you'd be number 1, people would click on your website, yeah, I'm going to go there. Now they're starting to look around, you know what? I'm going to check several websites. So they're checking like 3 to 5 dentists out before they make an appointment. So we're not stressing so much you need to be number 1, but you need to be that above the fold, in the top 3 is perfect, if not that, in the top 5. So you're found there. They're checking reviews. 2/3 of them are looking at your website and saying, oh yeah, I want to make an appointment. You know what? Let me check the reviews first. We're getting data. We have a way of collecting this data so we know who's checking reviews and who's not checking reviews. And this has increased over the past 4 years. 4 years ago it was like 40% of them are checking reviews. Now it's up to 2/3.
Okay.
Now let's check out the Facebook page. Let's see if I feel comfortable here. So it's more important that you have the right branding.
I put in dentist near me, and the first one that comes up is Dr. David Rush, who I grew up in Kansas with. We went to UMKC together. We practiced across the street from each other for 30 years, and he died 2 years ago.
Oh, and he's coming up.
And he's number 1. He passed away, dentist number 1. There's a lot of people in the press talking about like one of my favorite business gurus is Professor Scott Galloway. Teaches business at New York Stern School of Business Management, NYU School of Stern Business Management. Mm-hmm. And he talks about all the time about the abuses of Facebook, Google, and Amazon. And there's horrendous deals. But he talks more and more that it used to be when the internet was new, that when Google came out in 95, that a search engine, they were really trying to show you through Google's whole claim to fame was the backlink. And what that meant is there were many search engines.
Yeah.
Before Google came out.
Yeah, when I started, we optimized for about 10 different search engines.
And what were the big
Alta Vista, Yahoo, Hotbot, oh gosh.
Alta Vista, Yahoo, which turned down buying Google for $1 billion. And then like a couple years later, they offered him, I think, $5 billion, and Google said no, $9 billion. And Yahoo turned it down, and now Yahoo's worth like almost $1 trillion. But what Yahoo did, what Google did, just one simply stupid idea that they did, is everybody was trying to index the internet, and Google was indexing people who had a link to another website.
Yeah, that was the big
So thing. If I, on my website, say I had a homegrown website and it was about the planet Mars, but I had a link on there to the NASA or Jet Propulsion Laboratory or some other website, they were just indexing the backlinks. And the backlinks was kind of like the internet word-of-mouth referral. And when Sergey Brin from Russia and Larry Page from Wisconsin started Google, and that was their deal. That was the only deal they did. They really never done anything. In fact, if you look at their profits usually their profits are about 140% of what they show, because they lose 40% of their profits on all these other moonshot ideas. Google Maps, Google everything, Google Scholar, all these things have never panned out. They still have almost all their revenue just from search, advertising on search. But what I was getting at is back in the day, the search was the best search by backlinks.
Yeah, I remember.
But now the best search, I mean, even if it's not a paid ad, everything they're showing you has to do with money. Money's the answer. What's the question with the Google search? Is that correct or not correct? I mean,
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Well, if you're out there buying Google ads, you're going to show up on search.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're not buying Google ads, you're not going to be on page one. Is that a fair assessment or not really?
Oh, no. You're still best off getting an organic ranking there in that top 3 to 5.
But in 95 to 2005, it was all organic rankings.
Yeah.
But doesn't money really taint the Google search algorithm today?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, yeah. And they're driving more and
I
more
mean, I
people
put
as they
dentist
get.
near me.
I mean, we just recently had this Medic update, and it's just people are scratching their heads trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I just put dentist near me. I'm in 85044 in my home. I'm 3 miles from my office. We're in Ahwatukee, which is Phoenix, Arizona, and 3 of the first 5 websites were in Chandler, Arizona. I'm not talking about the ones that said ad. I'm talking about non-ad supported, just dentist near me. Why would 3 of the 5 dental offices be in Chandler, Arizona, the next city? Probably because in the past they bought Google ads, they bought Google search. Something is tainting it. It doesn't seem pure and organic anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, that could be. You know, we have, we're still trying to figure out, you know, a lot of people are trying to figure out, we're on webinars and consulting with other people to figure out the impact. This Medic update hit.
Medic?
Yeah, just
MEDIC?
Yeah, just started in
for
August.
just medical, or is that?
Well, what Google just did a major algorithm revision, and it ended up getting called the Medic update because it seemed to affect particularly websites that Google regarded as particularly important that they deliver accurate information. So health-related websites, you know, legal advice, and things what they call your money or your life websites have just really been hit. And about 5% of our clients really got hit with this. You know, they're maybe in the top 3. We have a client that's on the top 3. Google, you know, got bumped down to page 3, you know, by this update. You know, most of our clients are doing great. But yeah, I mean, exactly what's at the bottom of that? I don't know. You know, I've heard people say that, you know, we're in the business on the front lines of this Google. I don't think Google would do that. I think they know what got them there and the trustworthiness of the search. I think.
Well, I love your innocence, because I'm a cynical bastard. I think what's funny, because when you and I were in dental school, the big fear was George Orwell, that someday the government would be spying on you and having cameras and the deal, and everything that book. Remember 1984?
Oh yeah.
Everything they talked about, the government didn't do. And then the people voluntarily did it with Amazon's Alexa, with Google Voice, with Facebook. I mean, when you sign the terms and conditions and accept Facebook and Google and Alexa, I mean, when you sit there and say, "Hey Alexa, play this song," Alexa's taping all your conversations. So everything George Orwell feared the government was going to force on you, all the people end up volunteering to do. And when I look at the stuff that Facebook and Google and Jeff Bezos,
yeah, well, you know, I
don't have any trust for those guys.
Yeah,
anymore.
I share your anxiety about that. Yeah, because I think Google is way too big. I like the government to go in and say, okay, you got to split off YouTube.
Well, I mean, not just that. I mean, do you think Facebook? Do you think Mark Zuckerberg will basically do anything for profit, or do you think he has a moral compass?
Well, yeah, no. I think he's profit driven, but there's a check on that.
But profit driven. I mean, does he have any moral compass? I mean, be honest. This is Dentistry Uncensored. Does he?
Yeah. It's very little. I'm sure he has some, but not a lot.
Give me one example of a moral compass. And then Sergeant Hubert and Larry Page. I mean, and
Yeah, well, to
Jeff
get
Bezos.
Yeah, to get to that point, they've got to be
Very
profit
aggressive.
driven. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to.
yeah.
Or, so because all the people that weren't that profit driven, they're left in the dust.
Yeah. So how many dentist clients do you have?
We've got about 65 right now.
Nice. And are they mostly in Arizona or
no.
all over the country?
No, we've only got a couple in Arizona.
Yeah.
So
give your pitch. Why should it? Well, first of all, they're commuting to work. What should be the litmus test when that dentist gets to her office? What should she get on her website and check to make her know if her website is fine or if it needs updated, redone?
Well, yeah, it's what does it work? I mean, we have some clients that we've talked to about this, and they've been our clients for a while, and they're ranked, say, in the top 5 in Google. Well, we just had a client recently in the Chicago area. Calls up and says, "Hey, I'm not getting the new patients that I used to.
And what does that mean? 5 a month, 10 a month? What does that mean?
Well, it depends on the practice. I mean, we got some practices that they need, 100, 150 new patients a month.
So 150 new patients.
Well, they got 5 dentists.
Okay.
Whatever. And then we got somebody that's got a boutique practice that says, if I get 5 to 10 quality new patients a month, I'm good. So, but this one dentist talked to us and said, okay, I'm ranked number 1 for cosmetic dentist in my locality. I'm not getting the calls. I used to be getting the calls. I said, well, that is a symptom. That's like I said, you got a patient that walks in your door and they say, my tooth hurts. When I drink cold water, it makes it feel better. I said, you know exactly what's wrong with that tooth. It's got a gangrenous pulp and it needs endo. I said, you tell me that I'm ranked high. I used to be getting these patients. Now I'm not getting it. Your website's out of date. Guarantee you. So you got the rankings, you've got the traffic. People aren't calling. Your website's out of date. So we look at the traffic. That's the way to tell. They're getting adequate traffic, but they're not getting the conversions.
So do you have any, what is your, do you have a consultation with them? I mean, do you have any, what if one of my homies wants to talk to you? Or wants to
okay, and this is where I depart from some of the other, like I said, when I started, I called around and they said, well, how big a website do you want? No, we have a diagnostic phone call. Okay. I will be the one to talk to them. Our sales director will refer them to me, and I'll spend maybe a half hour on the phone. I'll say, okay, so how many new patients are you getting? Is that the amount you want? How many more do you want? Are you getting the kinds of patients you want? What are the procedures you really want to do? Are you seeing those? Okay. Do you like to see kids? Do you want to do smile makeovers? Do you want to place implants? Do you do the surgery? Do you like seeing TMJ pain people? What's your policy on emergencies? We'll do this diagnostic thing. Tell me what your fee level is compared to others in your community, and I'll chat with them and figure out their branding. And then we'll do some research on their community. And then we will send them the analysis and say, okay, you gave us this goal. You said you're getting 10 new patients a month. You want to increase that to 20. And you want a higher quality patient. You want people that want comprehensive care. You want people that are going to stay with you. You want some families, bring in your kids. Okay, this is what you need to do to reach your goals. And this is how much it's going to cost. And we will guarantee, we'll tell you what we predict your results will be. And we will guarantee that we will hit that within a year. If we don't, we'll do extra work for you for no extra charge, to learn that. And we will pretty much, about 90% of the time, we'll hit the mark.
You always talk about the 3 emotional marketing mistakes that every professional marketer makes when marketing dentistry. What are those?
Well, one is this trust. They start bragging, and those are the 2 issues. If they brag, that's an emotional marketing mistake. You need to sound trustworthy. If they're too eager, they say, call today, whatever. We're the most wonderful office in Awatuki. You've got to come to us. And then the third one is just inaccurate branding.
What was this? First was trust. What was the second?
Well, the first two are related to trust. The two mistakes, one is bragging and one is being too eager.
Okay, bragging and too eager.
And the third one is just inaccurate branding of the website. For example, I'm going to make you beautiful. I do smile makeovers, but I've got a cheap website. That's a more common mistake. Another mistake would be you have an expensive looking website and you're scaring people away because you're after a middle demographic.
What I think is the funniest is that if I analyze just my alcoholic drinking dentist friends in just Awatuki, and like this guy is like say like literally an implant legend. I mean, like placed 10,000 implants. You go to his website, you wouldn't even know it. And then another one of my friends is I think he's a diplomat at the AACD. I mean, he's a big time cosmetic guru. You go to his website, it's a cut and paste. His picture of him looks like a mugshot. I mean, it's like, so
that's an emotional marketing
all
mistake.
my drinking buddy friends, their website has zero reflection of who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm talking to this dentist, I'm just thinking, my God, I just want to talk about implants and bone grafting. When I'm talking to you, I just want to talk about veneers, and I mean, and then I go to their website, and all five of them would be the same monkey. And that's why I've always told people that when they talk about they want to buy a CAD cam or a laser or all these $100,000 toys, I always say, get a digital camera and start photo documenting your legendary work and put it on your website.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree?
Yeah, absolutely. If somebody's looking for a smile makeover, first page they're going to go to is the smile gallery. If you don't have a good smile gallery, it's not going to work. And you have to get out of this idea of dentist to dentist. They'll put up a retractor view of a smile, and people find that repulsive. You got to get people that, if I go to the website and I'm looking for a smile maker, I can identify with those people. You can get me. That's another one of the subconscious principles that we talk about, is get people to dream. Get them to visualize themselves receiving the care that you are giving them. Get them to visualize having this new smile. And you do that by posting pictures of people that say, that's a person that's like me. I would really like to be like that person. I would like to have that beautiful smile that that person has. And people make a subconscious association also. This is the power of association between beautiful and expensive.
They do make that association.
If it doesn't look expensive, you're not going to convince them that you're going to make them beautiful.
And do you think that's neuro-linguistic, or do you think it's also economic? Because markets, markets are very efficient. The best example of price segmentation to me is a blender at Target, because they literally, if you go to Target or Target, they literally have 10 different blenders, and they start at $10 and they go all the way to 100. And what I love about efficient markets is that the $20 blender has features that 10 doesn't. The 30 has features that 20 doesn't, and it goes all the way up. So when a $30,000 Ford Taurus has twice as many features as a $15,000 Ford Escort. So I think consumers are so used to efficient markets.
Yeah, well, that's the association.
If you charge $1,000 for a crown and I charge $500, I would think most Americans would think, well, yours must be the Ford Taurus and mine must be the Ford Escort. Yours must be the blender that shreds and dices and does everything, and mine's just the on-off. Yeah. Do you think that's it, or do you think it's a neuro-linguist?
Well, no, but that is a subconscious association that we make. Expensive, that's deeply ingrained in us. Expensive is good. Expensive is superior quality. But
what's funny about that is when you go to Beverly Hills and Scottsdale. I have 100 examples of this where some of the highest priced Scottsdale, Beverly Hills dentists, their work doesn't stand up to the average dentist in Chandler and Glendale. I mean, if I look at the best cosmetic dentistry in Phoenix for 30 years, I find it in Chandler, Glendale, Peoria, and Phoenix and Tempe. And when I see cases that are like, oh my God, what the hell happened? It was the biggest marketer, biggest advertiser, biggest guy out of Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that or disagree?
Yeah.
It's like they built the $1 million Taj Mahal. They have the best marketing. They have the highest prices, but they forgot the continuing education and the credentials and to just be good. And then you look at these humble guys in Phoenix and the suburbs of Chandler, Tempe, Glendale, Peoria, who you know, whenever I go to a local AGD meeting, it's the same 100 dentists every time in a town that's got 3,800 dentists. And those are not the showboats, and they do the best work. But you would never know.
It's interesting because, you know, with our clients, with our marketing philosophy, we sometimes get those, you know, showboat type dentists that come and ask us for help. They end up not lasting long because we end up, you know, they want to be so pushy on their website, and we just resist. And then finally we had a guy in another client in the Chicago area that just gave up on us because we were trying to tone him down, and he just didn't want to be toned down. But anyway, this idea of the expensive is good. This Van Prate has an interesting study that he refers to in his book, where they had wine tasting, and they had this wine. It was like a $10 a bottle of wine. Yeah. But they gave people different samples, and they said, okay, it was the same wine. This is a $5 wine. This is a $10 wine. This is a $25 wine, and this is a $90 wine. It was the same wine, and if they put the price tag of $90 on it, people said, "Oh no, that tastes the best. I like that one."
What I can't quit. I've done all those California wine tasting deals because I've lectured at so many of those wineries, and they, you know, I'm the attraction and the winery and all that stuff. And what is so hilarious is by being a dentist, I know that you have the most taste buds probably at like birth to like 12. And by the time you're our age, it's like almost all your taste buds don't work anymore. And that's why older people, salt and pepper and Tabasco sauce. And every commercial, it's always some whitehead guy. It's like, dude, you know why your hair is white? Same reason your taste buds don't work. I mean, if I was going to listen to wine tasting experts, it'd be a bunch of children or high school people saying, oh, yeah, I really taste the cinnamon or the whatever the heck it is. But I think it's just hilarious that they have all these dead people doing the wine tasting that you could probably put pigeon droppings in the wine and they wouldn't even be able to sense it. So yeah, emotions is very, very important in all the marketing stuff. So you also talk a lot about how to close the sale in a treatment plan presentation. When I stand behind dentists, when I'm in their office and I turn on the recorder, they just sell. They never close. And then you leave the recorder on. And when you leave the room, 100% of the time, they turn to the assistant or the hygienist and they start asking trust questions like, do I really need 4 cavities? Really? Do I really need a root canal? So it's like the dentist didn't convey trust because as soon as he leaves the room, they're asking. In fact, I would say of the first 4 questions, 3 are trust-based. Well, do you go him? Do you let him work on you? Do I really need 3 cavities? Do you bring your kids here to, you know? And so how do you, and I always tell the dentist, like, look, if I went to a proctologist and they said I had, you know, the number 2 cancer in males is colon cancer. If he came to me and he said, Howard, you got a thing. We got to cut it out. I mean, I don't want to talk about it for an hour. I don't want to see a bunch of pictures. I don't want to scratch and smell test. I'd rather him just come and say, dude, you have a polyp. We need to take it out. We need to put you to sleep. Cut it out. Do you have any questions? I mean, get to the close. But the dentists just sell and sell and sell and sell, and they never close. And then every time they leave the room, it turns to trust questions. How do you fix any of that?
They activate the BS alarm. You know, I read this thing about, I forget what magazine, it was not Dental Town, but it was one of these other magazines about, you know, marketing dentistry, and is giving this big spiel about, you know, closing the sale and educating the patient and whatever. Patients do not you know, it, like you said, it's about trust. My treatment plan presentation was very simple, you know, and I had a very high treatment plan acceptance rate in the 90s. And I would just say, you know, Mrs. Smith, you know, you need 3 crowns. This upper first molar, the lower left second molar, and first molar, and you need 3 crowns. Do you want to do them? Or? Okay. You know, and I don't know, just something in my demeanor, they just believe me, you know. But I think if I just pull up, oh, here's the intraoral camera, you know, look in here, see, you can see these cracks, blah, blah, blah. You know, when I got an intraoral camera, I never used it as a sales tool because I think that people get suspicious of that. I used it as a diagnostic tool, but I put it so that they could see it. And I would be there with my hygienist and I'd say to my hygienist, oh, there's that crack, you know. I can see that on the intraoral camera. I wouldn't say anything to the patient. They can look up and they can see it. But I think the minute I start using that as they're perceiving high pressure sales, you know, and they're waiting till you leave the room and they're going to, like you said, they're going to ask the hygienist, do I really need this?
Yeah, so how do you go from selling to close? You just simply, matter of fact, you have a crack on your molar, you need a crown. Did you want to do it? I mean, you're that fast with the close.
That's all I did.
Yeah.
You know?
And if they sense you're selling,
you know, here's my treatment coordinator, you know. You can ask her any questions you want about the price or whatever, or the scheduling or whatever, and I'll leave it up to her.
The last thing,
but you know, like I said, when I was needy, when I was thinking, oh gosh, you got to do this crown, you know, I had a lower treatment plan acceptance rate. You just got to disconnect yourself a little bit, act professional, and just, you know, expect people to trust you but you've got to have a feeling. I think people have a radar that if you're faking it, they can tell, and I think you just have to be sincere. I think you have to look in your heart and say, do I honestly have the best interests of my patients at heart?
So when people are talking about internet, they always talk about SEO. How do you increase SEO, or search engine optimization?
Oh, it's gotten a lot more complicated, you know, and there's a lot of urban legend going around. Well, you got to have a page that's somewhere between 250 and 500 words, you know, and a lot of it's baloney. Google, here's what I do when I'm doing search engine optimization. I'm thinking, okay, put yourself in the Google boardroom, whatever, and they're discussing their algorithm. They are trying to deliver. I mean, from the very start of Google, what they're trying to do is deliver the best results for the searcher. You know?
I don't think they're doing that anymore. I think it's all money. It's just money.
That might be tainting it.
I mean, I just put in dentist near me. I'm on my Wi-Fi. They know where I'm at, and it gave me the 3 of the top 5 choices didn't say ad. Were in the next city over. How does that happen?
Yeah. But anyway,
there's 80 dentists.
But they're trying. I mean, they're trying to identify, you know, quality websites, and whatever, you know, if the money is tainting it, well, it's tainting it. But still, at the heart, they're trying to, you know, deliver quality results. Maybe not for the very top, but so our formula for SEO is just to develop a quality website that has a good user experience, that has a low bounce rate, and generally we find out that works.
Well, I just want to say one thing about SEO. Whenever you're at a dental convention and some guy is telling you that he's humble, we don't know, but they're telling you how SEO works. Dude, Microsoft would pay you $1 billion if you could tell them how Google works. If Microsoft's Bing doesn't know, oh, but the guy at the Holiday Inn knows, right? I mean, Yahoo's another one. You mentioned Yahoo. I mean, so what I try to do is
that's a red flag. That's what we teach our
people.
If someone says, "Well, I used to work for Google, so I have the inside scoop on Google," red flag. Yes,
So Yahoo and Microsoft would each pay $1 billion in unmarked bills to find out how Google's algorithm works. They can't figure it out. Oh, but the guy at the Holiday Inn knows. But things that I think are red flags, like, okay, your Alphabet owns Google, YouTube, all the Gmail. So I look on dental websites, they have an AOL email. I don't think Google would like that. I don't think they would like a. By the way, when your name is Dr. Dentist at AOL.com, they already know you have diabetes and erectile dysfunction and probably don't trust you. I mean, when a dentist sends me an email with an AOL, I'm 56. I know they're at least 10 years older than me. In fact, the only person that sends me an AOL email nowadays is grandma. I don't think they like, so get a Gmail account. On my website, I have 2 YouTube accounts because Alphabet owns Google and YouTube. And every study I've seen on the market, half the American market is afraid of the cost and half is afraid of the pain. So I have a 1-minute video from me. Are you afraid of the dentist? And then I have a 1-minute video from my office manager of 20 years, Dawn. Are you afraid of the cost? And but I think Google would probably reward someone who has a Gmail address, a couple of YouTube videos, but again, nobody knows. And if they say they know, you better be talking to Sergey Brin or Larry Page, because the guy at the Holiday Inn doesn't know more than Microsoft. Is that fair?
That is very fair.
And last question, because we went over. Do you still believe? I mean, all the research I've seen is that 9 out of 10 appointments are made by women. True or false?
Yeah. They make their own appointments. They make more appointments than the men do, and then they make the appointments for the men.
So when I look at anthropology, sociology research, I mean, every time a male human, whether it's sapien, gorillas, chimpanzees, orangutans, gibbons, the great apes, or the monkeys, every time a man talks to another ape or monkey, a woman talks to 5. University of Chicago, which has the most Nobel Prizes in economics, show that men speak about 1,300 words a day or less. Women are north of 7,000. They make 90% of all appointments, and that's the underpinnings of why they're so into social online reviews. I mean, I would never, if I was going to go to an Italian restaurant, I would just look at them like I was at Mandalay Bay. When we were looking for a restaurant, me and my dentist, drinking buddies from Awachee, we would just go to the menu and look at it. And then we'd walk across the hall, look at another menu. We'd look at like 3 menus, decide where we're going to eat. None of us even had a thought of going online and looking for a review. But women, do you agree that women are more likely to make the appointment and more likely to look at online reviews?
Yeah.
And do you think that social confirmation of online reviews is very important?
Oh, yeah. Two-thirds.
Two-thirds.
Two-thirds of them. We have an ongoing sampling of people making appointments with our clients. And this percentage of people checking reviews has increased over the past 4 years from 40% to about 2/3 now. And so, yeah, if you have bad reviews, that's going to kill your conversions.
This weekend, every time I was on to dentist, I'd say, "What's your name?" And you'd say, "Oh, I'm David Hall." So I go to his website. And then when I was talking to him, I go, "Is this you?" Yeah, that's me. I'm in LA, or God, those dentists are this weekend. They were from Korea, Israel, Russia, Germany, and I go to their website and I'd say, "Okay, how many reviews do you have?" And they'd have like 4, and they go, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, you're a man. You don't even know. You don't even care." I said, "You have 4 reviews. You know what the first?" And then I'd read the first one, and it was always some horrible obnoxious. He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Dude, every woman in your town is on her iPhone Googling your website, and the first thing she reads is this, and that review was posted like 2 years ago. Why haven't you had a review in 2 years? Does your mom hate you? Does your sisters hate you? You can't find anybody to go on your site, and how do you manage online reviews?"
Well, this is where I differ from some other people in this marketing business, because there are all these softwares where they'll, send a text or an email encouraging reviews. I'm skeptical of that, because I think, these review companies, Yelp and Google, I think there's going to come a time when they're going to try to figure out how to discount any of these reviews that are generated by these software
They know.
applications. Yeah.
Google knows. They know everything.
I think the best way to get reviews is just to simply ask.
Yeah.
And then we have a little sign that we found effective that we'll give our clients, and it says people love us, and then it'll say Facebook, Google, Yelp, and they'll just have this little TP sign on their counter. And what that does is it suggests to people, hey, we like reviews, we have good reviews. If you wouldn't mind reviewing us, we'd appreciate that. So my advice to my clients, if I were in practice right now, I would be asking people, just asking them personally.
But they never
at the end
do.
of the appointment,
They never
would
do.
you mind leaving us a review? But if you're lacking that, and if you're having a hard time doing that, then get one of these softwares, Demand Force, Smile Reminder, whatever, and generate an email to your
Google
clients
is the
afterwards and ask them for a review.
Google is the smartest company in the world because, like, on Facebook, you post like a picture of like your, oh, here's me and my wife having candlelight dinner, and then on Google, you're like, what are the 5 symptoms that you're gonna get a divorce or your wife's cheating on you? You search things on Google that you wouldn't tell your mom or your spouse. On Amazon, you're like, give me the best price on paper towels. Google is the true serum. What you post on Facebook and what you tell your mom is an eminence front by the WHO. It's a put on. And Google, they know everything about you. And I believe Google knows about those reviews being set up. What I like to do on my reviews is I just tell my staff, it's when they walk into a sliding glass door. You know the deal with the sliding glass doors, the window's so clean, someone walks right into it. Whenever you hear something that you wish was an online review, like, oh my God, it's gorgeous. So that's when you're prompted, oh my God, I wish I was reading that on a Google review. Would you please say that on Google?
Yeah, your staff.
As opposed to, I get done with the crowd and say, Mr. Hall, thank you for being patient today. Would you please go to Google and write us a 5-star review? I don't feel comfortable doing that. And he might be sitting here thinking, I don't think that crown matches. I thought the shot hurt. I thought you were a jerk. I thought your receptionist was rude. I don't want to ask someone, because I've been asked several times to place a review by somebody. Just like when I was in Vegas, when I go to the dinner, when we went to the restaurant, the last restaurant we went, it was a buffet. And we decided to go to a buffet, and they put it in there, and they said to get your ticket, you had to tip first. Mm-hmm. And the 3 choices were 18%, 19%, or 20%, or none. I'm 56. I've still never seen visually anybody look at a Yelp review. I've never been in a situation where one of my dentists or friends or family said, well, let's go to Yelp and look at a review. It's only been Google. And it's only been girls, and it's only been Google. And they'll say, oh yeah, it's got 5 stars. And being a business owner, I'm like, what are you looking at? It's always Google. I've never physically seen someone ever in my life one time use Yelp. Furthermore, on Dentaltown,
Well, but now,
if you do a search for Yelp on Dentaltown, there's 250,000 dentists on Dentaltown. They posted 6 million times. You do a search for Yelp, every thread is a bitching session about Yelp. And there are no threads like that about Google reviews. Why do you agree or disagree?
oh yeah,
So why does
I'll
everybody...
refer you to my blog post. Yelp is a 4-letter word.
Well, if you write a blog, Dentaltown has the blog.
Uh-huh.
And when you put that blog, then it could be exposed to 250,000 dentists. But send me the link to your blog, and then I'll share that
I'll write some
to
stuff
my
for you. Yeah.
to my Facebook and Twitter and Google and all that stuff. And
but
I'll,
it's basically, the problem with Yelp is...
when you leave, you should go to Dentaltown and meet the Dentaltown team, meet the editor Sam. I would love to get your blogs on there. I'm a big fan of yours. I asked you to come on the show. You didn't ask me. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I asked you.
You were through LinkedIn, through...
I know. I'm a big fan of yours.
Through our request for information.
I'm
First,
from
I thought you wanted to
Kansas.
be a client, and then I read, oh, no, he wants me to do a podcast.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of yours. His customers are raving fans, and I had about, I don't know, 3 or 4 different dentists told me I should get you on the show. And I'm like,
Okay.
I know that.
Yeah.
So I I've been all out trying to get you, and I got you not through you. I got you through one of your staff.
Yeah, Sarah.
Sarah, yeah.
Sales.
I couldn't get him, so I convinced one of his staff members to get his butt to drive over to Phoenix. But people in Mesa are hooty tooty. They don't like to drive over to Phoenix. They don't like to drive down the social.
No, that was a nice drive. It's a nice drive.
Well,
but
hey,
all these little streets to find your house.
Well, when you leave, you can at 40th and Elliott, you can turn right and go to Today's Dental. Tell my office manager anything you want to do on our website, or you could at 40th and Elliott turn left, go to Dental Town, and here I'll
give me the names and I'll ask. I'll come in and I'll act like a.
But hey, thank you so much for all that you've done for dentistry. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking to my homies. It's been a real pleasure.
You bet. Thanks, Howard. Enjoyed it.